My fellow Canadians, I always wanted to say that government has prorogued Parliament, meaning that they're taking a break till September. Now, if your boss, in the middle of the worst business crisis you've ever had, decided to take basically a month off and leave all the workers stranded, what would you think of that boss? Sure enough, it's not exactly quite that simple. He's going to be reconvening with his ministers and talking strategy with his colleagues to see if he can present a new plan that won't get shut down by government when they reconvene. The NDPs are strong. They probably go with the Liberals. The Conservatives are weak. They're disorganized. And why that is, I have no idea. It's time for them to get their act together. But regardless, if your boss took time off in the middle of the worst crisis in your business's career, point in history, what would you think of that boss? Worse off, he's not doing anything different. I think Einstein defined the definition of madness. I think he used the word stupid even. He's doing the same thing over and over and expecting different results. Isn't it time that we got off our butts and made a change? Not because change will necessarily work, but rather because what we're doing isn't. Look, I'm not a politician. I'm just an old ex-golf pro. How's that swing? And I just want to say to you is that God forbid that we go through this entire September process to end up with the same thing as what we've got. Hundreds of people where I live in downtown Charlottetown who own business are going to go broke this fall. Thousands of people are going to be struggling for food on their tables. With all the money that has been given out, perhaps in some cases to the wrong people, people are going to go hungry. Jobs are definitely never coming back in some market segments. This is not the way to go. We need to build things. Just bringing in people to our country through immigration, that's great. It's one way of doing it. But we need to create work. We need to create real jobs. Why doesn't someone step up to the tee and put those jobs on the table? I, for one, Mr. Prime Minister, Mr. Premier here on the island, you give me access to a pool of cash, not unlimited, but guarded by a chaperone, by an accountant firm so that we make sure that we're spending money wisely. I, for one, there's guys like me, left, right, and center, will create work. You're putting money into the wrong hands. You're creating no motivation to go back to work. And it's time that we looked at each other and said, you know what, unless we build something that the world needs, we're not going to make it. Now, at 62 years of age, at many businesses, some really bad, some really good. I know that it's hard to hear this, but people are going to lose their businesses, their jobs, and their families. Through no fault of the Prime Minister's was COVID-19, and nobody can blame the world for, well, I don't think anybody can blame the world anyways for this pandemic. It happened. But we need to have a solution other than a vaccine, because even when the vaccine is here, these people will still be out of work. When Parliament reconvenes, I'd like the PCs to really shut this down. Vote non-confidence, even if you lose your jobs. Because if you're in Parliament, you can afford it, you've got a pension, shut it down. Shut down government once and for all and give a new regime an opportunity, even if it's the Liberals. Get rid of our existing ministers. They've had their chance, and they did a pretty good job where our country didn't implode. But let's give it to some new people. If it's all white people, if it's all black people, if it's all women, I don't really care. Let's just give people a shot. Something different, something new, and create hope.